Not even Plato, who more or less invented what is now called the JTB theory of knowledge, that is, knowledge as justified true belief, thought that it worked. His worry was that once we start looking for a justification for our belief, there's no natural place to stop. To justify belief, I must be able to give an account of why I believe it rationally acceptable. Plato thought that required giving a definition. I know what a human is, for example, if I know that a human is a rational animal. Now, a definition is just composed of terms, in this case the terms rational and animal, which if they are to be known, must be given their own definitions. But since there is no end to the process of giving definitions, it looks like we're stuck on an infinite regress of justification. If we cannot halt the regress, then we can never give a complete justification for anything that we believe. Not all reasons take the form of definitions, but the same problem applies to anything that we cite as evidence or reasons for believing a proposition to be true. What reason do I have for accepting the evidence or reasons that I cite? If I propose further evidence or reasons, the question arises why I should accept those, and so on. The regress problem poses a dilemma because we either have to accept that the regress of justification is unstoppable, in which case knowledge is impossible, or we have to accept some propositions without having a justification for believing them. But then what we call knowledge cannot be grounded in justified true beliefs. There have been two main responses to the infinite regress objection to knowledge. The first is the view known as foundationalism. Foundationalists hold that there are some propositions which contain their justification within themselves and which serve as the foundation for other propositions. Within this class of self-evident or self-verifying propositions, philosophers have at various times included the axioms of mathematics and logic and propositions that can be internally verified, that is, propositions about the mind or self. Both St. Augustine and René Descartes thought that we can confirm the existence of our own minds and the self by direct intuition, without the need for further evidence. This is what lies behind the famous argument, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. No further justification is required to know that one thinks or exists, because it is not possible to coherently doubt that one thinks or exists. You might wonder how much can be inferred from these self-evident propositions, even if they are in fact self-evident. What truths about facts outside the mind, for example, could be inferred from my knowledge of my own mind? An alternative position is coherentism. Coherentists argue that justification is a matter of a proposition's cohering with a wide and fairly stable network of beliefs. But what counts as a coherent set and an incoherent set? Why doesn't my belief about the outcome of a coin toss cohere with my belief about what day of the week it is? To say that my believing the coin has come up heads does not justify my belief about what day of the week it is seems to appeal to something other than coherence to determine evidential connections between beliefs. One could, after all, have a coherent set of hopelessly false and unsupported beliefs, provided one was consistent in the kinds of connections one drew between what one takes to be reasons and the propositions one takes to be supported by those reasons.